Welcome back everybody to my advanced programming course using C++. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit more about functions, and we're actually going to focus on function prototypes. So let's get to it. So let's talk about what we did last video, which is introduce the layout of a function. You had a return type, the name, and these little guys here, or little gals, are the parameter list. So far, we've been looking at parameter lists that are empty, and we're going to continue with that. What I want to do is I want to show you some code. So in this example, there's a lot of moving parts here, and what we're kind of deviating away from is defining the function up top before the main. This is the second way that I told you about on how to define function and function definitions. What we're calling this here is, we're calling this the function prototype. So this is a function prototype, and this is a function prototype. Now, if you recall, anytime you define a function, you have to place either the prototype or the definition prototype before the call, or else the program's not going to compile. In this case, when we don't want, we're going to take the position of not defining it up top, we're going to define it on the bottom. The prototype still must be defined before the call. The only difference is the prototype has this semicolon on it without a definition. Where do we define it? We define it after the main. You would put it, what the example that I have here is anywhere after the last compound statement, ending compound statement in the main. And over here, we're giving a call to first, and then we're giving a call to second. Now, let me show you a visual representation of what I think will make things a lot clearer in terms of a function prototype. It should be very simple now that we understand how we need to define these functions. Okay, now, as we see this example here's a better picture of how it's going to look, and I'm going to draw a couple things on the code. You got to remember that the main is the initial entry point of any program. And this thing, that always happens to me. This thing over here is a function call. So don't forget about that. So this is a function call. And this is a function call, right? Main will come across, execute this. Then it's going to step into first. Now, in this case, first is not defined, but because of the function prototype, it knows what the return type is. It knows the name of the function, and it also knows the parameters. By us defining a function prototype on top, the compiler knows, oh, okay, I know what we need to do with this. And now it steps into first, and then it goes into execution. So if I were to label this in terms of steps of execution, we can say that this is first, this is second, and it stays in second. So this is the second step, right? It's going to execute this body here until it's over. Then this is third, and it goes into the definition here of this function. And then once it does that, then the program is going to terminate, right? The program is going to terminate. The reason I'm showing you this because the programs that I'm going to write in this course are going to have this style where you're going to have the prototype on top and then the definitions on the bottom. Now, you can switch these up. You can put the definitions, even if you have a prototype here, you can put the definitions before the main. I prefer not to do that because as a programmer, as instinct, I know that the main is the initial point of entry, so that really should go first. The way that you scramble your function definitions is really up to you. It doesn't really matter to me, but you'll find out that sometimes you may have to swap some definitions across. just for sake of readability. So that's basically what function prototypes are. And then when you see me write code like this, I hope you will understand that this is the style that I'm going to be writing it in, and you can expect it from here till the end of the lecture series. Thanks again for taking the time to listen, and next lecture I'm going to talk about sending data into a function.